Hello everyone and welcome back. So today we are going to learn how to create the smooth scrolling in React. As you can see, if I click the destination, we on the destination section is pretty smooth. If I go to hotels, we on the hotel section, flights, flight section, bookings, booking section. And also if I scroll up, as you can see this underline here in the nav bar, now we on the flight. Okay, if I scroll up again, we on the hotels. Scroll up again, destination, and if I click this icon Jado here, of course we on the home. All right, that's what we're going to be building. So really simple, and let's get started. All right, so in here I have already generated GrowToReact app, and now we just have app.js, index.css, and also index.js file. So now what we need to do first is we need to create the header. So let's create header inside the components folder. I'm going to create folder called components, and inside this components folder, let's say header.js file. Okay, so in here let's generate rfce functional path component, and I'm going to render the header inside this app here. So let's say header like that. Okay, so now let's go back to header, and instead of div I'm going to use header tag. Okay, and also I'm going to use CSS module. So let's create the folder called styles, and inside this styles I'm going to create header.module.css. okay, so now we can import this header inside the header component. So let's say here import, I'm going to give a name styles from, let's say styles.header.module.css. okay, so now we can add class name here. Say class name set equals to, let's say style, and give any name class you want. For example, I'm going to say header. Okay, so inside this header I have a container. So let's say div, and inside this div here I'm going to create class name, and of course this is gonna be a container. Okay, and also we also have div here, and I'm going to give a class name called, let's say styles.nav container. Okay, and inside this nav container I have the logo. So I'm going to create the logo with h1. So let's say h1, and I'm going to say Jado. Okay, and also down here I have the nav, just the navigation, and inside this navigation I'm going to create array basically. So in here I'm going to create variable called, let's say nav links, so that equals to array. Okay, and it's gonna be the navigation. I'm gonna say home for the first, and also let's say destinations, and also hotels, let's say flights, and the last thing is bookings. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to map through these nav links inside this nav. So I'm gonna say nav links dot map. Okay, I grab the individual nav. Also in here I'm going to run function called, let's give a name render nav link. Okay, and I'm going to send the nav here. Okay, we don't have yet this function, so let's create up here. So let's say cons render nav links that equals to arrow function, and of course we need to return here, and now I'm going to return ul. Okay, but of course we need to say key here. So key set that equals to the parameter that we send in here. I'm going to give a name content. Let's say content, and the key is going to be content, and of course inside this ul we have li and also anchor tag, but for now I just want to put a button. Okay, like that, and I'm going to put the content inside this button here. So let's say content inside in here. Okay, so now if I save and let's take a look here, as you can see we have Jado, home, destination, hotel, flight, bookings, and of course we can styling that inside this header here. So the first thing I'm going to grab is header. So let's say header, and if I put background, for example, let's say red, if I save, and as you can see, it's working. Okay, pretty nice. But instead of red, I'm going to change that to dark color, which is 222. And also the color, the text color, I want to change that to white. And let's change the padding to 1 rem. And also let's give a position to fix, because when we scroll the page here, we need to the header still up here. Okay, so position fix, and also the width, I want to set that to 100%. Okay, so if I save, that's what we have. And as you can see up here, we have this space because we don't yet reset the let me select everything here, and I'm going to reset the margin to 0 and the padding to 0 as well, and also the box sizing, I'm going to set that to border box. Okay, so now that's what we have. Cool. So let's go back to header here, and what we need to styling next is basically the container. Let's say container, and I'm going to set the maximal width into 1200 pixel, and let's make it center. So I can say margin top and bottom auto, and left and right to auto, top and bottom 0 basically, and left and right auto. So now save, and here we go. Cool. So now we need to the logo here in the left and all the navigation here into the right. Okay, so we can use display flags in here. So I'm gonna grab the nav container, I think. Yeah, this nav container class, nav container class. And what I'm gonna do, let's say display flags. Okay, and also the line items, I want to set that to center, and also the justify content, let's say space between. Okay, if I save, and here we go. Now the logo in the left, the navigation in the right. Cool. So now let's styling the logo here a little bit. I'm gonna grab that. So let's say nav container h1, and I'm going to change the font size to, let's say, 2 rem. And also the cursor, I'm gonna say, let's say pointer. And next we need to make this navigation display flags. So I'm going to grab the nav container and also the nav, and I'm gonna say display to flags, and also the let's say gap between the text here is going to be 2.5 rem. Okay, if I save, and that's what we have. But as you can see, we have this dot here. We need to remove that, so we can go to index.css, and of course in here I'm going to grab the UL, and in here I'm going to say list dash style to none. Okay, so now that's gone. Cool. Let's go back to the header modules. And next we need to styling the button. Okay, this button here. So let's say nav container button, and what we need to do is, let's say the font size, I want to change that to 1 rem, and of course the cursor, let's say pointer, color, let's say EA, and also the background, I'm gonna say none, and also the border, let's say none. Okay, but as you can see here, if I hover this nav bar here, there's no underline. So let's create the underline. So here I'm gonna use pseudo element. So I'm gonna grab the nav container button and b4, and in here I'm going to put the content to empty string, and let's set the position to absolute, and of course we need to put the position to relative in here. So let's say position relative, and also here I'm going to set the height into 1 pixel, and also the width, I'm gonna set it to 100%, which is 100% of this button, just like this button, the width. And also I'm going to add the background, so let's say background color to, let's say, EA, and let's see what we have. Okay, we need to put that in bottom, so let's say left to 0, and also the bottom I'm gonna set it to -5 pixel. Okay, so if I save, and here we go, as you can see, there's beautiful. And of course here I'm going to say nav container button, and when I hover the button, I need to the before here, let's say the transform scale to 0, 1, and then now it's gonna be gone, right? But if I just copy this, put it here, and let's change this to 1, so now if I hover, we have this underline. Okay, let's add the transition. I'm going to say transition to transform, and let's say 0.25 second, gonna be is. All right, and if I save and let's try, here we go, it's come from the center. So let's add the transform origin, and I'm gonna set that to, let's say, 0 and 100%. Okay, if I save, and now as you can see, pretty nice. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is create the home, the destination, hotel, flight, and bookings a section. So let's create section inside the source. Let's say sections, and inside this section I'm going to create home first. So let's say home.js file. So in here, let's say rfce, and let's remove the React up here, and I'm going to use section tags. Let's say section, and inside this section I have h2, in this case home, and also the paragraph I'm going to generate lorem 20, and let's add a class name here. I'm going to say class name set equals to let's give an ID. I think let's say ID set equals to let's say home section. Okay, so now let's create another section here. Let's do the destinations, and also hotels. Let's say hotels and flights, and also bookings. All right, let's say bookings.js files. So now I'm going to just copy this, put that into destination, and just remove this into destination. All right, so let's say destinations, and of course the ID is going to be destinations. Okay, save, and let's go to hotels. Let's paste that in here, and let's change the home here to hotels. Let's say hotels, and of course this ID here is gonna be hotel sections, and also these flags I'm going to, okay, let's change this home to flags, and also this ID is going to be flags. And what else? The bookings, let's paste that in here, and we need to, let's say home here, change that to bookings. All right, and also this ID is going to be bookings. Okay, so now save, and let's take a look. Nothing happened. That's because we don't yet import into app.js here. So let's remove this h1, and I'm going to render the home, okay, and also the destination, and also hotels and flights, and also the bookings. All right, so now if I save, as you can see guys, we have this home here, hotels, flight, and bookings. So now let's styling the section. Okay, I'm going to styling all the section inside the index here. Let's put down here. So let's grab all the section, and I'm going to set display to flex, to align items to center, justify content center, and also the, let's say, flex dash direction to column, and also the height, I'm going to set that to 100 view height. Okay, so now if I save, and this is what we have. All right, so now let's make it bigger. The head 2, I'm going to grab the section head 2, and I'm going to say font size, let's say 5 rem. Let's add margin bottom, let's say to rem. Let's take a look. It's more better. And now I'm going to change the destination section color and the flight section color. So let's go here. I'm going to create class called secondary section and give a color. This background, I'm going to say B5, let's say B5, B5, B5. Okay, so now let's add the secondary section class into the destination. I'm going to say class name set equals to secondary section, and also the flag, I'm going to say class name set equals to secondary section. So now, as you can see here, we have the white here, and gray, white, and gray, and white. Okay, cool. So now let's make the navbar here work. So if I click destination, we're on the destination. If I click hotels, we're on the hotel section. So let's go to the header. I'm going to close this CSS, and let's go to header. Where's my header? Right here. And in this button here, I'm going to add on click event. Let's say on click set equals to handle click nav function. We don't have this function, so let's create the function. I'm going to create up here. So let's say cons handle click nav set equals to arrow function, and in here I'm gonna say the first thing is we need to get this ID here. Okay, this destination, the hotels, the flight, etc. So now here what we need to do is gonna say document dot get element by ID. We grab the ID. Okay, so here we have this value right in this content, which is home, destination, hotel, flight, and bookings. So now what we can do is I'm going to create a variable called, let's say, scroll ID. Let's say scroll to ID. Set that equals to, it's going to be backtick here, and I'm going to grab the content. Okay, let's say content, which is the home, destination, hotel, etc. So I'm gonna say dot, let's say dot inside this content, I'm gonna say dot to lower case. Okay, and also I'm going to add section here. So let's say section. Okay, so now we know this is going to be home section, destination section, hotel section, flight section. Okay, so now we need to put the scroll to ID here into this get element by ID function, and also we need to use, let's say, scroll into view, and I'm going to use, let's say, behavior. I'm going to say let's say smooth. Okay, so now if I save this, and let's go back here, if I click destination, we're under destination. Click hotels, we're on the hotel. Flight, we're on the flight. Bookings, we're on the bookings. We click home, we're on the home. Okay, that's working. But now if I scroll down into destination, the underline here is not in the destination. Okay, that's what we're gonna do next. So now let's close everything here, and I'm going to create a file called hooks. So let's say hooks inside the source. Let's say hooks, and inside this hooks I have useNav.js file, and also use, wait, what is this? and also useOnScreen.js file. Okay, so in here I'm going to say rifce, and let's remove the import React, the export default, because I'm going to export like so. And also here I'm going to create a variable called ref. Let's say ref set equals to useRef. Okay, it's come from React. By default I'm going to say null, and also I'm going to return the ref here like that. So let's just copy this export function, and I'm gonna go to useOnScreen, paste that in here, and change the name to useOnScreen like that. So here I'm going to create state basically. So let's say const is on screen, and also set is on screen. Set it equals to, let's say, use state. It's come from React, and also by default it's gonna be false. All right, and also this return here is going to be is on screen. Okay, so we need to run the use on screen hooks here inside the useNav hooks. So in here I want to say use on screen, and I'm going to paste the ref here like that. Of course we need to import that like so, and let's go to the home section, and I'm going to create a variable called, let's say, home ref set equals to useNav. Okay, useNav, and also I need to say in this section here ref set equals to home ref like that. So now in use on screen here, what I'm gonna do is, let's create variable called observer set that equals to, I want to say new, I'm going to use intersection observer in this one here, and this intersection observer have a two parameter. So the first thing is callback and then the option. So the callback is basically just a function. So in here I'm going to put arrow function, and I want to say entry, and let's say arrow function here, and in here what I want to do, let's just say console log the entry. So now we need to run the observer inside the use effect. So let's say use effect. Okay, so let's say like so, and this use effect here, basically we need to run the observer dot observe, let's say observe like that, and we need to put the ref in here. So as you can see, we send the ref inside the use on screen function here, so we can grab that ref, and also we can put it in here. So we can say ref dot current. Okay, like that. And also we need to disconnect the observer, so we can say return observer dot disconnect like that. Okay, so now save, and let's take a look. I'm going to open the console, this console here, and let's refresh. Okay, nothing happened here. We don't get anything in the console. That's because here in the return here we need to add arrow function, of course. Let's say like that, and now as you can see in the console we have the intersection observe entry, and this is gonna be the home section. All right, and as you can see here, this is array, so we can use the array like that, and let's do like so. Okay, so now we get the value inside the array. Okay, and as you can see, this is the target home section. And of course we can add the ref inside the destination, for example. So in here I'm gonna say const destination ref set equals to useNav, and also we can put the destination ref inside this section here. You can say ref that equals to destination ref. Okay, so now as you can see, if I refresh, we have these two result here. The first thing is home section, and then the destination section. So now we can put the useNav into the hotel, flight, and booking. So let's go to hotels, and in here I'm going to put the variable first. So I'm going to say hotel ref set equals to useNav, and also we can put the hotel ref in this section here. So we can say hotel ref. Okay, and also let's go to the another section, which is flights, and in here let's create variable called flights ref. Okay, set that equals to useNav, and also we can put the flight ref inside the ref in this section. Okay, we can say ref flight ref. Okay, so let's go to the bookings, and in here we can create the variable called let's say booking ref set equals to useNav, and we can put the booking ref in here. So we can say ref set equals to booking, let's say booking ref. So now let's go to the use on screen here, and I'm going to add the second parameter in this intersection observer. So in here I'm going to add the option, which is the threshold, and I'm gonna say 0.7, which is 70%. Let me showing you here. Let me go back and refresh. Okay, as you can see, make it small so you can see this console here. All right, cool. So as you can see now, the flag is gonna be false, the home section is gonna be true. This is intersecting, which is make sure you focus in this key here. Okay, as you can see, this is true, and destination is false, the hotels is false, and booking is false. All right, but if I scroll down into the destination, as you can see now, the home section is false and the destination is true. Okay, if I go down again in the hotels, of course now hotels is gonna be true. Okay, but the destination is gonna be false. It's gonna be looking for 70% of the section here, and then it's gonna be fire. Okay, it's gonna be change the value, which is hotels now is false, but if I go to 70% like that, now as you can see, flags is going to be true. Okay, we are going to use this function, not this function, this key here. So let's go back, and in this function here, what I'm going to do is I want to say set is on screen into entry dot is intersecting. Okay, so now we have the value in this is on screen. All right, cool. So now let's create the context API. I'm going to create a folder inside the source. Let's give a name context, and inside this context I'm going to create a file called, let's say, NavContext.js file. Okay, so in here I'm going to say rfce, and also I'm going to create a state. Let's give a name maybe active link id. Okay, and set active link id. Okay, it's gonna be set equals to use state. By default it's gonna be empty string. All right, and also in here I'm going to create variable called, let's say, provider. Let's say provider value, set that equals to, we send this active link id, and also the set active link id. Okay, and also up here we are going to create the context. So let's export, and let's create variable called maybe NavContext. Okay, so that equals to create, let's say create context. Wait, create context. Okay, it's come from React, and we have same name here. Let's change this into, let's say, nav provider. I think nav provider. Okay, it's fine. So now we can grab children here, right here, the children, and also we can return the NavContext dot provider. All right, and also we can put the children inside in here. Okay, our app is basically these children here. We need to wrap our app inside this NavContext provider, and we also need to send the value set equals to provider value, like that. All right, so now we can go back to app. Let's close everything. Let's go to app.js, and we need to wrap our app here with where's the name, nav provider. Yeah, cool. So you can say nav provider, okay, like that. And we need to wrap this header, home, etc. inside the nav provider, and of course we need to import that. So we can say import nav provider from, let's say, dot slash no, we can say dot slash context, okay, and also NavContext, like so. So now all these components can access the context value, this value here, okay. So now let's go to the header, and in here I'm going to, let's say, cons, and I'm going to say set it equals to use context, because we are going to access the context, and I'm going to put the nav context, okay, come from the context slash nav context. So in here I can grab the value which is active link ID, I think. Yeah, active link ID, and also in here I can console log, so you can see the value. So say active link ID. Okay, so now save and let's refresh, and as you can see we have empty here. If I change the value right here to something else, of course we get the value. All right, cool. So let's go back to header, and what we need to do is basically we need to change this value here depend on the section we go. Okay, for example, we go to destination, the active link ID is going to be destination. If I go to hotels, it's going to be hotels, flag, and etc. So now let's go to the useNav. So in here we need to use the set active link ID function. So we can say cons, and we can put the function name, just set active link ID, and we can say set it equals to use context, okay, because we need to access the context, and also we can put the nav context in here. Okay, cool. So now we can do down here, but of course we need to create variable first here. Cons maybe is on screen, set it equals to use on screen. Okay, this is on screen is basically value true and false, just boolean. So now here I'm going to say use effect. Okay, I'm going to run use effect here, and let's say like that. And also in here I'm gonna say if the is on screen true, all right, I'm going to set the active link ID into nav link ID. What is nav link ID basically? Nav link ID is basically props that we grab in here. Okay, so make sure that in the home we should send the home. Okay, in this booking we should send bookings. Let's say bookings, and destination we should send destination. Okay, and the flags we should send flags, like that. And also hotels we need to send hotels. Okay, cool. So let's close everything and open the useNav again. All right, so now we know that the set active link is fire now, but of course we need to add the dependency in this use effect. The first thing is, of course, this is on screen. Okay, it's depend on the is on screen, and also depend on the function here. Let's put here, and also depend on the nav link ID as well. like that. Okay, so now if I save and let's take a look. If I go to home, I refresh. If I go to home, we have home. If I go to destination, we have destination, hotels, flight, booking. Okay, cool. So now what we need to do is let's go to the header. All right. So now we can add class name in this button here. So we can say class name set equals to, I'm going to use ternary operation. If active link ID equals to content, okay, I'm going to put styles dot maybe active class. Okay, else I'm going to put just empty string. Okay, so now let's go to the styles header model.css. Okay, and down here I'm going to say nav container button, and I'll grab the active class. All right, and also we grab the before. Okay, and also in here I can say content to empty, content to empty, and also the position to absolute, and also the height, I want to set that to 1 pixel, and also the width, let's set to 100%, and also the background, let's say EA, and also the bottom, I'm going to set that to -5 pixel, and also the left, let's say 0. Okay, so now if I save and let's go back here, let's close this console, and now there's nothing happened here. That is because, let me go here into the button here. So here we need to set the colon and then the not, all right, not dot active class. Okay, and we can just copy this and do that in here as well, like so. So as you can see, if I go to home, home is active. If I go to destination, destination active. If I go to hotels, active, like bookings. All right, I think this is work just fine. And if I click this 0, nothing happens. So let's make it happen. So let's go to header. So let's go to the logo here, and I'm going to add on click event. So let's say on click set equals to, and let's say handle click logo. Okay, so let's create this function up here. I want to do in here. So let's say cons handle click. Wait, what happened? Handle click logo set equals to, gonna be a row function. And also what I'm gonna do here is just copy this here. Okay, let's paste that in here, but this scroll ID is basically home section. Okay, so now save and let's take a look. If I go to hotels, okay, we on the hotels, and if I click 0, we're on the home. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think this work, guys, pretty cool. And if I click this, work. Okay, yeah, I think this is work. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and yeah, see you in the next video. Bye.